Welcome back to another episode of the Hustle Nation podcast. Today is a micro episode, and this is a little bit of an unprompted recording in that I was on a mastermind call this morning actually, and the moderator said, "I want you to jump into groups and talk about your greatest life lesson. What's something that you learned that has been profound? That's something that you still practice to this day, or something that's changed your life." And I knew immediately what mine was. And just for some context, there were people talking about spirituality, people talking about mindset, attitude, work ethic, a book they wrote. Some folks talked about some tragedy they had in their lives and how that changed the way that they thought and seen things and worked. And there were some really phenomenal answers out there. And mine is maybe a little less exciting, but interesting in the fact that I recall back about 15 years ago, I was reading a book at a friend's house. It was called The Blue Day Book. And it's, I think, relatively famous book. It's got a picture of a frog on it. It's like this perfect square. And it's really perfect coffee table or bookshelf material stuff that you have in your living room. The Blue Day book in context is this wonderful collection of amusing, poignant animal photos and inspirational text designed to lift up someone's spirits who's having a bad day, who's got the blues. And the tagline is a lesson in cheering yourself up. Now, I don't know that I was in a place where I needed to cheer myself up, but I opened the book because it looked cute, having animal photos, and it was very interesting. It was not what I expected out of an inspirational book. In really, there were a lot of things that were what I would say question provoking and thought provoking for me, where it caused me to ask questions. And these quotes were really about changing the way you think and changing your mindset. And what was profound for me was that I would say, as I zoom out now, I probably wasn't the most confident. I grew up being slightly shy, maybe having just, some basic insecurities, definitely some imposter syndrome at time. I definitely was nowhere near as successful as I wanted to be in this early part of my life in adulthood. And I had started to think that maybe I didn't have an optimistic mindset. Maybe I was a fraud, as I'd say. And it really got me thinking and asking myself questions that, am I a negative person? Am I negative to be around? And I think I might have been. I think that there was definitely some truth in that at times. And it was a jagged pill that I didn't want to swallow. And so as I got to reading the book, as someone who liked to play golf, I had heard the quote that golf is 90% mental. And I knew that maybe I didn't always have control of my emotions, but that's where the light switch went off for me. I recognized that it wasn't at all about controlling my emotions. In fact, I would argue that in business and in sports, whether as an adult or a youth, you don't want to control your emotions. You need to have the right frame of mind, the right mindset. Because when you have the right mindset, you don't have to worry about controlling your emotions. They are in control. It is, how do you see and think about the situation? I would rather have fewer emotions and the right mindset, the right approach to the situation. So, for example, whether you're playing football and it's 4th and long with a chance to convert at the end of the game, or you're playing in a golf match against a friend for a few dollars or maybe for a club championship, what is the mentality? Are you visualizing the shot? Are you visualizing the throw? Are you thinking about an interception or hitting the ball in the water? Because those types of things will impact the outcome of the play or the shot, the swing. And I started to realize that, you know what? I can choose, not necessarily control, but I can choose to change the way that I think. I can choose the language that I use when talking about this opportunity talking to my friend in the golf cart, or talking to a teammate on the football team. I have a choice to see the positive side of the 4th and long at the end of the game for a chance to win the game. Not the negative part of that, but the positive part that we can win. Not the negative part about the possible interception or that the odds are against us. And so that was a light switch moment. And I realized that maybe I was really only 50-50, that I wasn't a full-time optimist. I was a part-time pessimist. And so as I zoom out, I realized that I was renting space in my mental domain. I didn't have full confidence. I didn't have full belief in myself. I was trying to control my emotions because I wasn't in control. I didn't have the right mindset. And if I did have the right mindset and the right attitude, the right body language, and the right vocabulary, I wouldn't have had to worry about controlling my emotions because I would have been in the driver's seat. I would have been owning real estate instead of renting space in my mental domain. And that is when I realized that when approaching any situation, whether it be neutral, positive, or negative, whether it be at work, on the golf course, or anywhere else at home, that you can choose to see the positivity. You can choose to see and find the silver lining, or you can choose to go the other way, even when you claim you're just being a realist. And that is when I transitioned from being a part-time tenant renting space in my mental domain to owning property and being the king of my mental domain. And the Blue Day book was the start of all of that. The Blue Day book helped me realize that I have some self-reflecting to do, that my self-awareness wasn't anywhere near where it needed to be. So I had to be honest with myself. I had to do an audit and say, look back at these scenarios that you've been in recently. What was your attitude? How did you approach that? What were the things that you said? What was your body language? Because I'll tell you this, just like in sports, your body language is impacted by your mindset, by your choice to see an opportunity. You might wake up and feel a little ill or tired or sick. But if you go into the office and you let that impact you, that will impact your body language, which then impacts your vocabulary, which then impacts the way people see you. It impacts how engaged you look or sound. And then what happens from there, right? Do people want to be around negative folks? No, they don't. Even people who are negative themselves want to be around positivity because it's contagious. As much as negativity is, positivity breeds positivity. And people want to surround themselves with positive people, particularly those who are successful. And so as I look back, this is a great time to do it because I'm recording during the week of Thanksgiving, which is a great time to reflect and give thanks as we enter really the latter phase of 2023. And I do this every year as I try to do a self-audit and reflect upon, all of the great things that I've achieved and the things that I'm working on, or maybe the things that I'm not going to be able to get to this year. And I look back and think, did I bring my best self here? Did I bring my best self home to my family? Did I bring my best self to the office? Did I bring my best self, into these environments with my friends? I think really the only way you can do that is ensuring that you are king of your mental domain or queen of your mental domain. And it's not easy to do. I can tell you that this very much is like a strategy. It's a work in progress. It will forever be something you work on because we are not perfect individuals. We are going to have moments where we say the wrong thing. We have negative thoughts. We let imposter syndrome be more than momentary. And when we make that recognition, we have to be able to say, not today. I'm not going to let this negativity into my house, into my mind, because I am in control. I can choose to squash negativity like a bug. And one of the keys is continuing to read and educate yourself, to keep yourself sharp on what's happening in your world and in your industry, but also who you surround yourself with is so key and so critical. So when you have this moment of reflection and you look back, think about it. If it's something you're struggling with, who are you surrounding yourself with? And I want to challenge you as we kind of wrap up this episode is what is the one thing you look back in your life? What is the one big lesson that you've learned that has been most impactful? Now, maybe there's a lot of them, or maybe it was something that had come from tragedy. Maybe it's something that you're still trying to teach with your team, or maybe your children at home. What's the one thing? Because today it's something that had kind of been on my mind throughout the day. And I thought, you know what? Like, yeah, that would, when I went from renting space to owning real estate, when I chose to change my mindset, change my attitude, and choose positivity, that is when I made that commitment that changed everything for me. And I know there's one out there for you. I would love to hear it. Drop it in the comments section, shoot us a message, and take some time this week in this holiday season to reflect, to see the positive in everything you did, even when maybe you feel like you came up short a little bit this year. See the positive and be kind to yourself, because that is the only way we will continue to hammer out success. Is you have to be graceful with yourself in times when times are tough. And as I zoom out and wrap up this episode, I just want to say thank you to all of our listeners who have helped us with another phenomenal year. We appreciate your downloads. We appreciate your ears. And we'll look forward to more episodes with you coming up. Until next time, peace.